There we go. Yo, chat. Chat, 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 chat. Welcome back. It's the Kallen FE stream. Hey, howdy, folks. How you're doing? Of course, it is me, Kallen FE. Welcome back to the stream. Sunday fun day. That means we're back to making the TOT RPG. It's Card Combatants. I have been defeated by chat. They did exactly nothing, and yet the name Card Combatants has stuck. I am inconsolable. Anyway, how are you all doing, chat? I hope we're all having a good day. Can't tell if... That's probably fine. See, I don't want the music too loud, otherwise it distracts me. Like, that kept happening last time I did this. For those of you new to the stream, new to the VODs, it is Miracle of Sound. They will be serenading us all the way through the stream as per usual. So a little bit of bookkeeping as well. I kind of fucked up. I promised you all a stream, either Friday or Saturday. Actually forgetting I had obligations on both evenings. So, whoopsie doodle. It's fine. It's fine, I think we're here. We're ready. Let me just turn myself down a little bit, I've just noticed I'm peeking. So what's happening today is I'm streaming this probably until 5 or 6, I'm not certain. But once we're done with this, we're gonna take an hour's break so I can actually eat some food. And then we're gonna come back at either 6 or 7, depending on when we finish. We're gonna come back and we will be playing New Vegas. Like I was supposed to do on Thursday, but, you know, we kind of didn't. So... there we go. Okay, so... where were we with Card Combatants? So... brief recap on Card Combatants. So this is it's an unofficial, so we are not at all endorsed by Konami or anything like that. Unofficial role-playing game that is based on Yu-Gi-Oh! And is designed to work with Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards. That's the goal. The goal here is that if you can go out, you can buy a pack of Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards, whether that's like Speed Duels or like standard kind of product. If you want to just buy like a bunch of booster packs or something, or if you want to like actually reconstruct a deck, however you want to do that. The idea is that you can get those cards, you can bring them to the game, and the game will actually use them to do things. So you will actually be dueling like other players and NPCs and stuff. That's the goal. We vaguely want it to be like the anime, except we want it to be a lot faster. Because with a role playing group, you're gonna have it's gonna be a group of like at least, well, ideally, like 3 or so people. Like, I think the average size of a group is like 4 or 5 people, not including the GM. So what we don't want is for a duel between like one character and an NPC to take like several hours, right? I'd say several hours because I'm going to assume that there'd be like actual role playing going on and like trash talk and stuff. You know, it's not just going to be playing the game straight. So ideally we want this to be done in like a matter of like 5 or so minutes for well, for the longer duels, like 5 or 10 minutes, right? So that's where we're at. That's what we're focusing on. Um, we have a we have a baseline. The baseline is very simple. This is for all the stuff that isn't dueling. That's a lot of stuff, but this is quite a broad kind of system, kind of approach here. So zoom that in. So yeah, we've got 5 stats. You put a different dice in each. Hooray! If it comes down to a physical fight, we have damage, we have HP. It's very simple. So here's what we're looking at, right? For the duels. This is sort of the next big thing that we need to iron out is how the duels actually work. And that's kind of the core here, right? Is abstracting the duel into a faster thing. That's like the entire punchline of this thing right now. This could be a problem as well, not having field spells, but we'll leave that as is. That's something I'll explain to chat if chat wants me to, but for now we'll just leave it alone. We won't worry about that too much. Don't know why I wrote field zones then. That should just be zones. This phase, etc. as well as standard format rules. We use the TCG ban list because well, we could use the Duel Links ban list, I guess, but Duel Links doesn't have all the cards in the game yet, and I want this to be to be effectively evergreen, right? I don't want, for example, someone to turn up with like fucking Tillemans, right? For example, and so I don't want someone to turn up with Tillemans and then have to be like, oh well, they've not actually been released in the format that we're using, so you can't use them yet. When like you can physically own those cards and bring them along, it's like, oh well, it's a little bit shitty. So I say, what is that all about? Okay, that's interesting. I don't know, can you all see that? And now it's gone. It's very mysterious software sometimes. Yeah, okay, so I think what is the template for a deck in this system? You can only be thinking about ratios, STM slash staple engine. I want to think about the extra deck. Okay. We also kind of want to think about Other basic rules. Terms of resources. So the rest of the basics of the game don't particularly matter at this point in time. What we're trying to do is we're trying to figure out what a deck in this game can look like, what it should look like, and how we communicate that to our players. This is everything from what kind of balance of cards you need to have, which is the ratios here, and we'll talk about this as well in a second. It's everything from the ratios to how big the deck can be, how big you want it to be. Think about like the life points that you have access to as well. And then once we have all of that and we know what a deck can look like, from there we'll know what the state of play roughly is. So then we can go back to this and start organising our own ban list. Because we're going to need our own ban list. There are certain cards that just aren't going to work for this game, right? There are certain cards that are just going to absolutely break this game. We'll probably have to put in something going forward, saying, hey, the GM has... Yeah, the GM has... Basically just, they've got a constant remit on being able to ban a card within a certain amount of time of it being introduced to the game, right? Or even just at any point, right? As long as it's not mid-duel, you can't ban a card mid-duel. But obviously I can't see the future, so if a card comes out that is just absolutely busted, absolutely ruins the game, say it comes out in like 5 years, right? I will almost certainly have moved on from this project by then. If a card comes out that just completely busts this game in half, yeah, it'd be kind of unreasonable to expect me to come along and independently fucking verify, no, that shit's banned. Or even to keep up with, you know, certain cards and be like, oh, well, this card isn't, this card isn't as pivotal as it once was. Yeah, this card can come back into the game. Like, I'm not going to be doing that, so I think having a list of cards that, like, look, these are the cards that are banned, this is the kind of shit you should be looking out for, and you should probably ban. And there's not a whole lot of point in limiting cards, right? I'll explain that in a minute as well. But just leaving, like, a kind of, hey, look, here's a list of cards that are banned, right? These guys can never be allowed to come back. Because either they're too powerful, or they're too oppressive, or they just sap all the fun from the game. But, you know, going forward, these are the kind of cards that you should be looking out for. Cards that do this kind of thing in this kind of way. And then just leave it in the GM's hands. And they can curate their own ban list, and it's fine. Master Duel players might recognize a certain card that is not on this list. That a lot of people have been clamoring to be banned from Master Duel specifically for pretty much since it was first made. You know, since it first came out. Card notoriously legal in the OCG, the Japanese version of the game. Max C. I don't think we'll be banning it from this format for some very specific reasons. But we'll get into it. We'll get into it later. The other thing I want to talk about quickly is, so the Yu-Gi-Oh! Forbidden Limited list has three sections. You've got cards that are banned, which obviously you can't play. Cards that are limited, uh, you can only play one copy of a limited card. And cards that are semi-limited, you can only play two copies of semi-limited cards. You can't play any more than three copies of a card in your deck. That's just them's the rules. It's different from Magic and Pokemon. I believe they both have a limit of four of the same card. Yu-Gi-Oh says three and no more. So, the reason why that's important is ratios and odds. Basically, the more copies of a certain card you have in your deck, the more likely you are to draw it. If you talk to a competitive Yu-Gi-Oh player about the decks that characters use in like the original Yu-Gi-Oh anime, yeah, Duel Monsters, where it's got fucking Yugi and Kaiba and yada yada yada, and like specifically about Joey's deck. Everyone's guilty of this, but it's especially Joey. If you talk to a competitive Yu-Gi-Oh player about their deck specifically, they will probably tell you, yeah, their decks are built like dog shit. The reason being, and especially Joey, every single one of them only runs one copy of any given card, except Kaiba, who runs three Blue Eyes. This is this is bad strategy, because in a deck of at least 40 cards, if you need that one card, you only have a 1 in 40 chance of drawing it. That's half the chance of rolling a 20 on a d20. Or that's a 2.5% chance. And that's if you're running the minimum number of cards in your deck. If you're running 60, yeah, I don't... You're just kind of fucked. Like... 1 in 60 odds, I don't know what a third of 5% is. I'm not fucking smart at maths. But the short version is, you don't want to be in that position. The reason we're not really worried about limited lists or semi-limits, outside of, I think, two specific cards, and I think they're both fine at 3. To be honest, I don't think they're going to change. Well, maybe not slash draw. The reason that we're not the reason we're not worried about limiting cards, like it's just going to be either at 3 or banned, is because our card pool and size of our decks are going to be so slim anyway. Limiting a card probably isn't going to do a whole lot to you. If you've got a deck of 10 cards, reducing a card from 3 copies to 1, most of the time it isn't going to matter. Like, you're probably still going to see it. Or you can stall long enough to see it anyway, so... Oh shit, oh this is some classic Miracle of Sound, hell yeah. So, cards that I'm banning off the bat, I think Hand Destruction might actually be okay. Card Destruction and Morphing Jar are both very good at clearing out hands and drawing, doing deep draw from the deck. What I'm particularly... Morphing Jar's the worst for this because it will always draw you both players 5 cards. And again, in a game where the deck size could be 10 cards, that's half your deck. It doesn't take much wiggling to get card destruction to be as bad, if not worse, than Morphing Jar, so both are going straight on the chopping block. Warrior from Another Planet is a fusion monster that is incredibly easy to cheat out with cards like Cyberstein or Waking the Dragon, and it literally reads neither player can summon monsters. Yeah, we're banning that shit. Herald of Ultimateness is a little bit of a salty pick, I will admit, but I think there's very good precedent for it. Drytron can very easily set up a hand with 6 fairies in, and Herald of Ultimateness reads discard a fairy, negate your opponent's card activation. If you are starting with 5 cards in hand and you don't have exactly Dark Ruler no more, Herald of Ultimateness just reads, yeah, discard 1 card every time your opponent tries to do something. Your opponent cannot play the game. Degenerate shit. We're gonna ban it. Straight up. Those are just off the top of my head. We will go through the FNL later. We'll go through the Forbidden Limited list for the TCG and for Master Duel at some point, and we'll just cherry pick some of our favourites. Some of the cards that jump out at us as being particularly egregious, we will ban them. I'm not too worried. I'm not too worried about cards that like have big number or cards that are impactful. I'm not even particularly concerned about cards that are houses because it's not too difficult to out them. There's plenty of stuff out there that does deal with high impact single monsters. Kaiju spring to mind, for example. You've got cards like Lava Golem. Yeah, there are cards out there that will do the trick against like single powerful boss monsters, and I want people to be able to play with single powerful boss monsters. If someone wants to rock up with their boss monster being fucking Apocalypse Towers, yeah, sure, that's great. That's exactly what we're here for. What we want to avoid is game states where someone plays something just reads, oh, well, now your opponent can't play the game. Trust me, Yu-Gi-Oh! Has a lot of them. We will go through and strike the worst offenders from the game. I've already got my eye on a few floodgates. There may actually be an argument for some additional limits based on cards that are like that, but I don't want to outright ban. Okay. Right, so let's talk about the basic rules. So, Yu-Gi-Oh's had a lot of formats. We're not going to talk about the formats themselves in depth, but we should probably talk about what they have at their disposal. You've got what I'm going to call standard. And there's a lot of formats that fit into what could be considered standard, but this is essentially like this is the Yu-Gi-Oh that the vast majority of you will be used to. You've got a deck size of 40 to 60 cards. Real heads will remember that there didn't used to be a deck size limit in Yu-Gi-Oh, which led to a wonderful incident where it was at a tournament in Germany. I can't remember if it was YCS. It might have been before YCSs were a thing, because this was like again back in the early days, which if I'm remembering right, Upper Deck Entertainment was responsible for all the Yu-Gi-Oh tournaments and stuff. You know what, gang, remind me to talk about Upper Deck Entertainment one day. Again, Yu-Gi-Oh fans will probably already be familiar with the story. They'll probably have seen NBC or Nim Nim talking about it. But for people who aren't in the Yu-Gi-Oh sphere, it's such a it's a fucking wild story that like it's just kind of crazy that it happened. It's an interesting story. I'll get into it one day, but not today. So standard Yu-Gi-Oh, you've got a deck of 40 to 60 cards. Funnily enough, the limits actually remain the same between all the formats, so we won't talk about that. Um, hand size. Start 5. Max 6. Well, you always discard the hand size at the end of your turn anyway, so... So you start by drawing 5 cards. The maximum number of cards you can have in your hand is 6. There is a card in the game called Infinite Cards that lets you have any number of cards in your hand. Nobody plays it. It's not very good. It's very much a early era card. Like this is a card that came out in like 2002, and even back then it was not very good. Because you don't have a... Okay, so when it came out, you didn't have access to a lot of deep draws or a lot of searches or anything like that. So actually getting more cards into your hand was a slow and laborious process. To the degree where having a card that let you have infinite cards in your hand just wasn't worth anything, because like you were never getting to a stage where you wanted infinite cards in your hand. And these days, the game moves so fucking fast that a non-searchable continuous spell that just says, oh, you can have any number of cards in your hand, doesn't really mean anything. Like, you weren't going to end your turn with like a million cards in your hand anyway. Outside some very gimmicky decks, yeah, maybe a janky Slifer the Sky Dragon build might have infinite cards, but even then, even that's cope even for that deck, and Slifer's not particularly good. Which is a shame, because it's a really cool card, but it's really not very good. None of the Egyptian God cards are very good in the actual game. Again, it's a shame. It's a shame, but, you know, they couldn't be, realistically. So, actually, I'll tangent. I'll tangent to talk about the Egyptian God cards and why they're kind of trash. So, what happened was, in... Oh, fuck me, when did they make Obelisk? Was it 09? Oh, it might have been like 2009. Obelisk Tormentor. Is it banned? No, you can run 3 copies of Obelisk and it will not change anything. When did you... ECG... 2011. Yeah, it was a gold rare. Its first releasing was a gold rare releasing. It was a rare in Epic Dawn. Had a Starfall in Epic Dawn as well. A Zek rare in Battle Pack 2, War of the Giants. Yeah, gold secret rare. I actually I knew someone who pulled a fucking gold secret rare Obelisk back in the day, and fucking hell. Yeah, he's kind of had a surprising number of releases. It was a secret rare in a Speed Jewels box. They they put it in Speed Jewels. That's hilariously. Hilariously? What? That's hilarious. I can't... Yeah, they made a Egyptian god decks as well, and that's kind of like... That kind of, it's kind of a good case study in why the Egyptian gods themselves are kind of like trash cards. So, here's what happened. The Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime is it's written, it's made, it comes out. It's got the Egyptian gods in. This is back in like 2004, 2005. These are like, they're so powerful they require 3 monsters to summon, and oh, they're incredible. They can't be affected by spells and traps. They can only be destroyed by another Egyptian god in battle. They've got all these fucking crazy effects. Slifer gains 1,000 attack for every card in your hand, and it destroys monsters that don't have enough defense when they're summoned. Ah. And then Obelisk could sacrifice 2 monsters to gain infinite attack, and yeah, everybody wanted them. There are a couple of promo sets where they printed the Egyptian gods. Real heads will know. There was a game called Yu-Gi-Oh! Worldwide Edition, or Yu-Gi-Oh! Tournament Worldwide Edition, or yeah. What was the actual fucking Stairway to the Destiny Duel? That's one. That's one. And this game is intensely funny because for the longest time, Yu-Gi-Oh! Video games have come with promo cards. And some of these cards you could only get by buying the game, right? So yeah, take a look here, yada yada yada. 3 limited edition official game cards inside. So ooh. You buy the game, you get cards. Okay, well that's pretty sick. Does it say which cards actually came? Yeah, this is kind of funny because there was also the Eternal Duelist Soul, which came out, I believe, like, almost exactly at the same time, or maybe there was, like, a year between them. And, like, it's just the same game. I'm trying to... trying to see if I can find the fucking cards, because usually they will... Usually they'll actually tell you on the wiki what cards... Ah, there we go, promotional cards. Ah. Okay, yeah, so the European release of this game came with Valkyrian the Magna Warrior, Sinister Serpent, and Harpy's Feather Duster. Valkyrian was meh at best. He's just a big guy, but he's also really unwieldy to pull out, so yeah. Sinister Serpent had some hand loop bullshit going on, which, yeah. And Harpy's Feather Duster is just really fucking good. However, that's the international release. The Japanese release. The Japanese release, you may notice, had the fucking god cards. I had the Japanese version of the game. Your boy had the Egyptian gods. And... well, I mean, I was a kid at the time, so, you know, that was big shit. That was big news. Of course, they didn't have any actual fucking rules back then. So we kind of used the anime rules. Now, if that sounds dangerously unfair, you're not wrong. But, you know, being a dumb kid, I definitely didn't win all my duels because of it. So, what happened with the Egyptian gods is, they're shown in the anime. They're these unbeatable fucking cards. Konami then decides to release some promo cards, which are purely collector's items, should not be put in a deck, are not legal for play, but they've gone and made physical copies of the Egyptian god cards. These cards, which have been super hyped up in the anime, which were super cool in the anime, yeah, and now kids had their hands on them. There was another pack later on. This wasn't the only way of getting them. This was, I believe, this was the first way of getting them. There was another pack later on that had the same cards, but with different text. Or, well, slightly different text. There was a bit of... It's hard to explain. There was a bit of Japanese on those cards that wasn't the descriptions, it wasn't the names. For some reason, these were written in English. It was... Oh, not entirely sure why. But yeah, fucking GBI 1, 2, and 3. I still have GBI 1 and 2. I do not have the Winged Dragon of Ra anymore, unfortunately. Well, not that printing of it, but whatever. So, they made these cards. Kids now have them. No official rules, so they're just using the anime rules. In 2011, we get Obelisk the Tormentor. It's the first Egyptian god to have an actual release. Slifer and Ra would not be too far behind it. However, when I say they got an official release, I mean they got an official release with rules that actually made them fair. One of the big parts about the Egyptian gods was that they were nigh impossible to get rid of. Once they were on the field, you better have your own Egyptian god, or you're kind of in fucksland territory. The official printings of them had no such protections. Immune to spell and traps? Gone. Can't be destroyed by monsters other than Egyptian gods? Don't know what you're talking about. In theory, a sufficiently boosted Ojama Green could beat over Obelisk the Tormentor. All you need is 3 Acts of Despair and 2 Mage Power or something, I don't fucking know. You could do it. you could do it. Fucking horrifying. Imagine being beaten to death by an Ojama line that has like... Ojama line? That's not a card. Ojama Green that has like 7k attack. Jesus Christ. Yeah, Obelisk didn't bring too much to the table. Still required 3 sacrifices. You couldn't target it. But there are plenty of games. There's plenty of stuff in the game, even back then, that could deal with Obelisk without targeting it. Funny enough, one of the recommended things to do was actually to play Creature Swap, which would exchange control of one creature, one monster you control, and one monster your opponent controls. So what you would do is you'd make sure they're in a position where Obelisk is their only monster on the field, play a monster of your own, and it does not matter what monster that is. Just the weaker the better, really. Activate Creature Swap, you take their Obelisk, they get your... whatever. And hey, congratulations, your opponent just sacked 3 to make an Egyptian god, and you yanked it with a spell. A spell and a sacrifice. To say that the Egyptian gods were underwhelming when they came out would be a massive understatement. The problem with them was that they didn't have even half of the effects that they had in the anime. So when kids that had grown up on the anime finally got their hands on, oh my god, it's the Egyptian god cards. Yeah, no, they were kind of garbage. Kind of not very good. Pretty much the same happened with Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon. Uh, you all might remember Kaiba's three-headed Blue Eyes fusion. Didn't get that until 2009, if I'm remembering correctly. I believe it was 09. And at that point, having three Blue Eyes in your deck and a polymerization to make just a guy who is bigger really wasn't worth all that much because, well, it dies to removal. Oh, Blue Eyes Ultimate? That's cool. Anyway, here's my bottomless trap hole. A harsh lesson for a lot of kids who grew up with Yu-Gi-Oh! Who tried to take the game more seriously later on. A harsh lesson a lot of us had to learn was that having a high investment monster with a big attack stat is not enough on its own. If that monster doesn't have some sort of protection, or it can't be protected by other means, and even protecting it by other means means investing more into it, usually it's not worth it. Yes, 4500 is more than half your opponent's life, but you have to get that monster on the field in the first place, which usually takes a lot of resources. It has to survive being on the field, it has to connect with an attack, and I'll remind you all that, like, cards like Mirror Force and Magic Cylinder, not particularly great. I mean, Mirror Force was really good back in the day, but they've existed for a long ass time. They weren't always banned. I don't think Magic Cylinder was ever banned, actually. Playground staple Magic Cylinder. But yeah, putting all your eggs into one basket like that generally doesn't work out well. And this really kind of came home to roost with the Egyptian gods. These huge monsters that required like 3 monsters to tribute to bring them out couldn't be cheated out by conventional means, You couldn't send them to the grave and then monster reborn them and have them stick around that way. That weren't protected from destruction effects, so stuff like Regeki Break would just wipe them out before they could do anything useful, and hey, congrats, you've gone -4 for nothing. Yeah. Yeah, they never really made any sort of actual splash. In later years, they have gotten more support. We've seen stuff like Wrath's Disciple come out that lets you swarm the field, so you've got 3 tributes that you can use to bring them out. We've had stuff like Ancient Chant and The One True Name. Lots of support for these cards that kind of add in their anime effects after the fact. But the issue is, you need to draw these cards, and you need to have access to these cards. And the god cards at the same time. It doesn't all come neatly packaged up together, it's all like a million different pieces that you have to assemble. So yeah, these cards came out, they didn't do what we all kind of expected them to do, and while they've had support afterwards, it's really just kind of trying to... It's like they're trying to rebuild a shattered mirror, right? By delicately balancing each of the broken shards on top of each other. You might get something resembling the gold cards at the end, but it's going to take a whole shit ton of work to get there, and it's still going to be relatively fragile, all things considered. So hi Misha, welcome in. We took a big detour talking about the Egyptian god cards. I think they're interesting to talk about, and I don't think there's something that we would actually ban. Hilariously, if somebody wants to make Slifer their fucking mascot, go for it. Yeah, the Egyptian god cards are cool. I totally agree that they're cool. They're just not very good. So we start 8,000 life points in standard. Alright, so what we're doing here is we are comparing the different formats for Yu-Gi-Oh! Try and figure out what our format should look like. Realistically, there are two formats worth talking about. We're not going to talk about cross duel because it's so far removed from like everything else in terms of how it plays. The deck size for speed duel. So you might have heard of speed duel. You've probably heard of Duel Links. There's a high chance you've probably even played Duel Links actually. I think a lot of people hopped on the Duel Links train when it first came out. Um, Functionally speaking, they are the same. Um, they have different card pools. They have different ban lists. But in terms of how the mechanics of them work, it's exactly the same game. So the deck size is 20 to 30. And size, use Dart 4. I think it's max 5. I could be wrong about that. Oh god. Oh, what was the... No, because... Was it... Yeah, so it's Dueling Nexus, that's a thing now. Duelings... There's Yu-Gi-Oh! Pro, there's Edo Pro, there's Dueling Book, but it probably wasn't Dueling Book. Oh, was this... God damn, I swear I know the one that you're talking about, and I cannot remember what it was called. Oh, was it Dual Evolution? In like '07. Jesus Christ. This is supposed to duel to get more cards. Let's say get one card from a card pack of their choice. On a match game, it's played both players get 3 cards from a card pack of their choice. Only if to play it, you can trade if you played 36 or more duels. Or exchanging mileage points. Later than that, 20 cents? I wonder when it... Oh, hold on, we have pictures. Pictures for ants, but pictures. Yo, look at this. This is adorable. This is genuinely like the cutest Yu-Gi-Oh game I've seen. Oh, in December '09, a new version called Online 3 Duel Accelerator replaced Duel Evolution. Was in 2012. In peace. If you beat Yami Yuki 14 times, you get a free Swift Gaia, the Fierce Knight. Isn't that incredible? The USB dual pass key, what the fuck? It was a USB device that was sold in retail stores in the United States. Or like a standard USB flash drive, except it only contained the information necessary to transfer game credits to your account. Incredible. They were selling like fucking... That's the one, Neuron activated. A CD-ROM with full version of the game was included in the packaging for the USB dual pass key. That is incredible. Oh, it's only got 128k of actual memory capacity. Unusable for anything but the dual pass credits. I don't know, you could get like a couple of Word documents in there, maybe. Actually, I want to see if we can find this. Hold on. Yo. Wait, $4.99? Shit. I could buy that. Trying to get it as like big as I can for you. Does not ship to United Kingdom. Oh, monstrous. Sorry, gang. I'm not going to be able to buy the dual pass key. And what a fucking waste of like. What a waste of plastic. Dude, what a waste of materials. Like, you buy this... Okay, it's in, like, the fucking clamshell bag, and it's like, okay, fine, it was, like... It's, like, 2010. That's kind of late for that kind of packaging, I'll be honest. But, like... You buy this shit, you get your smug thing of Kyber, I guess. You get your USB, you plug it in, you get your fucking credits. And then that's it. Like, you can't even do anything with that USB. What a fucking waste. SMS boost. The method of using a mobile phone to text an SMS with the word booster, sending it to a certain phone code that was different for each country. You receive a 16-figured alphanumeric code that will give 30 BP and one random card. You could literally text Konami, hey, give me Game Bucks, and they text you back a code for Game Bucks. Incredible. I mean, 2012 was like the early dawn of the smartphone. Like, they were not all that common. So, like, I guess it kind of makes sense, like, you're gonna do it. The fuck is Yu-Gi-Oh! Online Gunslinger? Hold on, what the fuck is this? Gunslinger 1? What? This must just... I guess this was just a event? In the game? Ah, yes. Good old Frog the Jam. Also, I find it incredibly funny that, you could, if you wanted to, you could probably data mine this game to find Frog the Jam. Which doesn't seem like a big deal, right? May I introduce you to Slime Toad, also known as Frog the Jam. This is a card that was originally called Frog the Jam. And, well, they had to rename it because frogs became an actual archetype. But they didn't want you using Frog the Jam in said archetype. I don't know why. It wouldn't have, like, done anything. It's a bit more complicated than that. It had a slightly different name in Japanese, and it became Frog the Jam when it was translated to the TCG. Shrug. I don't know. Early Yu-Gi-Oh was fucking weird. But actually, fairly recently, only a couple of years ago, it was renamed to Slime Toad. So here we are. Frog the Jam? I don't know what you mean. It's Slime Toad. It's always been Slime Toad. I stand my man Frog the Jam. It's a McDonald's promo card? What? Hold on, what the fuck? Are those the only releases it got? It was in a tournament pack and a McDonald's promo card. What? What the fuck? I thought... I'm so confused. I thought this was just like a bulk common in like Legend of Blue Eyes or some shit, or like Metal Raiders. What the fuck? What do you mean? What the fuck else was in Tournament Pack 3? What? Swap Frog, Terratop, Rampulse, Frog Driver, Duke Frog, Hyper Reader. Okay, so this was like, what, 2015-ish, give or take? There are some cards in here that are actually, like, good, right? And there are some cards in here that are, like, pretty okay. What is Slime Toad in here? Why is Slime Toad in here? Oh, also Cypher Soldier, which is not a Cypher card, fun fact. If I'm remembering right, yeah. Cypher Soldier, which... Oh, they renamed to Kinetic Soldier. Because again, Cypher is an archetype. But they didn't want this card to be part of it. Very funny. What the fuck is it in here? Enchanting Mermaid was in here. Fucking Enchanting Mermaid. Oh, thank god it was only a short print. We don't want too many people getting hold of Enchanting Mermaid. I'm so confused. What were they thinking? The McDonald's promo cards, let's go! Hold on, chat, we're gonna read this together. McDonald's promotional cards are a series of cards included in McDonald's Mighty Kids Happy Meals. They're included with 1 of 3 CDs each, featuring preview music from the soundtrack Yu-Gi-Oh! Music to Jewel Buy. It only ran for 3 weeks? No wonder I didn't see any of it. Present English printing for cards released in limited edition packs in the OCG. There were 2 cards per pack. The set contained 15 cards comprising 2 ultras, 3 supers, and 10 commons. So if you were lucky, right? If you were lucky, you'd pull Cosmo Queen. What the fuck is Takraminos? It may surprise you to hear, chat, but back in the day, this was actually fairly good. 4-star with 1500? Yeah, sure. I can tell you for a fact most of these cards are not worth having. Whoa, Dark Piercing Light, hold on. Hold on, hold on, hold on. Flip all face down monsters your opponent's side of the field face up. It's not terribly good. No, this is not a particularly good card. Mainly because it doesn't say flip effects are not activated at this time. This would just trigger all of your opponent's flip up effects. Which I don't know about competitive Yu-Gi-Oh, but I remember playing Playground Yu-Gi-Oh, and everyone and their mother was running Man-Eater Bug. So, yeah, maybe having a card that just went, hey, just let your opponent activate all their flip effects right now. Yeah, maybe not the best. I think it's a super rare, because if you'll notice, it is the only spell in the set. In fact, it's the only card in here that is in here because of anything apart from its stat line, except for Goddess of Whim. Toss a coin and call heads or tails. If you call it right, double this card's attack during this turn. If you call it wrong, half its attack during this turn. So you've got a card with almost unplayable attack that you have to gamble on. If you get the gamble right, oh, it becomes a 1900 beat stick this turn. This turn, not until the end of your next turn, not until the end of your opponent's turn, this turn, which means it's going back to this attack during your opponent's turn. Yeah, again, not very good. At the time, we were kind of hurting for good light monsters, but this definitely didn't fix that problem. So, and then we've got Millennium Shield and Cosmo Queen. Yeah, Cosmo Queen is like the only chase card out of this set. By virtue of being spellcaster with 2900 attack. Yeah, I mean, yeah. Rip in Peace Dark Magician already power crept out of the game. It's a surprisingly expensive card. The limited, who the... I think that might be an outlier. Oh, you guys can't see that. Hold on. Yeah, there's someone selling a first edition Cosmo Queen, which is the lowest like rarity of Cosmo Queen, by the way, for $10,000. Listen, you can get this thing for 40 cents, okay? Like, no one's gonna pay 10,000 for it. Yeah, the limited is the one that you're chasing. Anyway, we're massively off topic now, aren't we? Holy shit. I want to talk about anything but our fucking TTRPG, apparently. I want to talk about Slime Toad. I want to talk about Gunslinger 1. I want to talk about CRU. I'd love a new copy of CRU, right? I have a copy of CRU. It is beaten to fuck. It is... This is a card that saw a lot of play, and you can tell. Specifically, this is a card that saw a lot of play without a sleeve. Yeah, my copy of CRU is kind of busted. Yo, 9 cents? Alright, that's enough of that. And then LP is 4,000. Okay, so the same thing to do the same thing to do would be to do it dueling style, but I kind of want to go further than that. I think so. Starting 4, assuming okay, so some assumptions that we should be making. Most players will want to run as few cards as possible. I was talking about ratios earlier. The reason why is so that you're more likely to find the cards that you need. I don't think we can drop. Oh, well, no, we can drop below 20. That's fine. What we need to remember is we're not running like full-scale duels, so we're not too concerned with. Oh, what happens if someone finds full combo? Like, no, we want them to find full combo. That's kind of the point. We could be. That mentality might be driving us straight towards a fucking cliff, but I'm not too worried. I'm not too worried if it gets like insane or whatever. Uh, so we can only figure out the hand size once we figured out the deck size. So, deck size of 40, starting 5, that's 1/8. You're starting 1/8 of the deck in your hand. Uh, 20, starting 4. You're starting with a 5th. So if we go with a deck size of 12 to... They're pretty consistent here with adding half of that, so it would be 12 to 18. Stop 3. That's 4. And theoretically, LP would look something like 2500. I hate this. I think this is a terrible idea. Yeah, we're scaling the game down, that much is true, but what we're doing as well is we're condensing the game in such a way that, like, Burn is just going to be this unstoppable force, Mill is going to be this unstoppable force. Like, any big monster that you can cheat out is going to, like, immediately win the game, right? Imagine if you brick and you can't do anything, and you're playing against, like, a Blue Eyes player, and they go, oh, well, I've drawn exactly Melody of Awakening Dragon. I'm now going to search Blue Eyes and Blue Eyes Alternative. Special alternative with its own effect. Attack you for game. Yeah, that may be a little too easy. So we're gonna... I think we're gonna go ahead. I don't think life points can be any lower than 4,000. Realistically, I think we actually want them higher than that. Actually, this is going to sound insane. I want people to play Stein. I want people to play Stein. I want to see Naturia Beast. I want... not Beast. Exterio. I want to see it happen. Um, I'm even thinking about putting life points up to 8,000. Here's a here's the thing about modern Yu-Gi-Oh, right? It's very swingy, it's very fast. You can relatively easily get 8,000 on the board. Um, Especially if you're playing the right decks for it. Blue Eyes can do it very easily. Galaxy Eyes, Grand Marju. There's a whole bunch of link strategies and cyber strategies that can do it. Particularly with cards like Access Code or... Oh god, what's the other guy? The Arrival Cyberse. I honestly think we can go to 8k. Deck size 12 to 18. Fine. I don't like the starting hand of 3, but I don't think that's enough cards to do much with. I think it's got to be at least 4. Probably put a max of 6 in. Okay. Like, this isn't set in stone. I'm gonna have to, like, test this out. Another reason we kind of need it to be at 8k is, again, Speed Duel Links are running very, well, not very different, but significantly different card pools. They don't have all the cards in the TCG. They don't have all the cards in the OCG. So we're just kind of gonna have to, like, keep that in mind going forward. What this means is that decks are going to be very consistent. Okay, so... So this is where we're going to talk about, like, ratios and shit. Alright, so we need to keep this in mind. Let's... Hey, remember when past Kallen said this shit? Good times. Good times. So... I'm thinking... as well, because we also need to keep in mind this shit. Anime influences. We're not just here to make Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links 2. That's not what the remit of this is. Yeah, we can use Duel Links in the game and in its different forms to inform ourselves, but we're not ultimately looking to make an alternative to Yu-Gi-Oh! No, no, no. We're trying to make the anime work in a role-playing game. Right? That's what we're aiming for. So... or two. Signature monster. Action duels were a thing. And also we... Whoops. Don't want... Watching... on the side... Die? Sidelines. Useless. I have a high degree of typing accuracy, as you can see. I only missed, like, 60% of those keys. Okay, so... This is something that does concern me, but I'm not sure I can answer it right now. Oh, also, let's see... See, I have dabbled with this as an idea before, and one of the ideas that I had was like, oh, you could pick a perk for your character, right? And that perk would let you do stuff like ignore certain limits on the Forbidden Limited list, or let you do like a Destiny draw where you could pick a certain card, right? See, what I don't want is for... What I don't want is what I'm going to call the Taya effect, right? Where you've got a character who ultimately doesn't actually do a whole lot except stand on these sidelines and talk about how cool the people doing all the stuff is. I mean, admittedly, part of the problem for Taya was that she got to duel exactly once, and it wasn't even a real duel because Mai just kind of went, you know what? Nah, we're good. I'm just gonna leave. But yeah, if we've got duels that, like... Again, it might not even be a problem, that's the thing, because I don't know how long the duels are going to take. If the duels only take, like, 5 minutes, if you can't sit still and wait for someone else to do their shit for 5 minutes, you know, there are going to be bigger problems at the table. But, you know, if a duel's taking, like... If a duel ends up taking half an hour for some reason, you know, you don't want, like, all that time being spent on one person and then everyone else is just sat there like, oh my god, I wish we could do something. Especially if the game you're playing has, like, one big end boss. And it's just like, but I will only duel one person at a time. Oh, for fuck's sake. Right? We're gonna leave this alone for a minute. Imagine, yeah, imagine like you've got a party of 5, and this guy takes a long time to duel, and he will only duel you like one at a time. Even if each duel is only like 10 minutes long, that's still the better part of an hour as he chews through everybody like fucking hell. So we ultimately want to be looking at like multi-person duels, support actions. we also want to be talking about... what's it called? Time limits. Let's get some big fucking question mark. Because I think ultimately we can't really answer either of these bits until we run some duels and I actually know what it looks like. But well, action duels were actually a pretty cool thing. I do want to talk about that. I think this is something we can include pretty easily. This is something we can include very easily. We'll get back to this. Let's talk about this for a second. So, characters have 1-2 signature monsters. This gets a little bit fucky because back in the day, I mean, not even back in the day, like, okay, so, like, the easiest way of explaining this is, when I say Seto Kaiba, you'll think of Blue Eyes White Dragon, right? Some of you might think of Obelisk the Tormentor, and some of you real heads out there might actually think of, Chaos Emperor Dragon. I mean, it turned up for exactly one scene and immediately died, but it was there. But generally speaking, you're going to think of like, oh, well, Blue Eyes White Dragon. When I say Joey Wheeler, you're going to think of Red Eyes. You might think Time Wizard as well. Maybe some of you might think Jinzo, but I'm going to go out... I'm going to take a... I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that's not a Joey monster, that's an Esperoba monster. Which, again, speaks to Joey's deck being fucking dog shit, but hey. When I say Yugi, now you probably think of Dark Magician. However, when I say the Pharaoh, now you might be thinking of Dark Magician, you might be thinking of Exodia, you might be thinking, oh, wait, now I'm thinking of Yugi in a different context. So when I say Yugi again, now you might be thinking of Karibo, and do you see the problem? Yeah, so even from DM, having a single signature monster kind of went out the window pretty fucking quick. At some point or another, it feels like every single monster in Yugi's deck was his fucking signature monster. Like, even stupid cards like fucking Celtic Guardian are iconic. This didn't get easier because as the series went on, and we got more and more series, it seemed like every character had exactly two things, or every main character had exactly two things. They would have their own signature monster. For example, Jaden had... Oh, wait, no. Jaden's a horrible example because Jaden also had like 15 fucking monsters between all the E-heroes. Arguably, his signature monster was Flame Wingman, but then it became Elemental Hero Neos? And then there was some weird shit going on with Yubel. I don't know. I stopped watching GX. Okay, let's talk about Yusei, because Yusei saves my fucking ass on this one. Because Yusei, fortunately, bucks the trend. He has one signature monster, Stardust Dragon. Thank you. Oh, wait, no, Junk Warrior. Fuck! Well, at least he doesn't have a Karibo unlike every single other Yu-Gi-Oh! Protagonist. Doesn't help that Karibos also became their own archetype later on, but let's not talk about that. I'm trying to hack my way through the Yu-Gi-Oh! Protagonist signature monsters, which, yeah, let's talk about that. He hit the upgrade button on Stardust Dragon like 15 fucking times. Did you know the latest set in the TCG has another fucking Stardust Dragon in? It never ends. It never. They. I think Konami have figured out that the one demographic of Yu-Gi-Oh enjoyers that they can farm more than Duel Monsters enjoyers are the 5Ds enjoyers. I've never seen a more loyal fan base, especially within Yu-Gi-Oh. I've never seen a more loyal fan base than the fucking 5Ds fan base. Every time you bring it up, 5Ds fans are like, "Oh, it's so good, man. Oh, have you watched it? Man, it's great." I mean, they're not wrong. It is pretty fucking great, but like, you asked why, and there it is. I mean, if it helps, the new Stardust card is actually pretty good at its seeing play. 5Ds was good. 5Ds was good. Do not think in any way that I am attacking 5Ds or its fans. They're not wrong. And they are also extremely loyal. So, in theory, to round out this point, in theory, um, you should have one or maybe two signature monsters. They're down to earth compared to the OG and GX. See, I can believe that in terms of like GX got very fucking weird at the end. I mean, so did Duel Monsters, to be fair. Duel Monsters got fucking weird at the end as well with the whole shadow game between Bakura and Yugi. Yeah, that was... It was cool, but also... We're in Egypt, but also we're playing a big tabletop game in the Void. Also, Bakura is both in the past and playing the game, while the Pharaoh is playing the game, but Yugi's in the past, I think. Also, here's the girl that totally isn't Dark Magician Girl, except she's definitely just Dark Magician Girl. The dub. The dub, but I don't think much changes between the dub and the sub for DM. Yeah, season 5 is really fucking weird because it starts off. The first half of season 5 is complete filler, where Kaiba hosts a tournament and there's this eccentric German dude who's trying to bring down Kaiba Corp, and he does it by like hacking the systems and cheating so his brother can win. And somehow they'll let him bring down Kaiba Corp, even though this has relatively nothing to do with Kaiba. He's just hosting the tournament. Like, it's so fucking bizarre. And Kaiba fucking dropped in on a jetpack and goes, "I declare this duel invalid." The funniest shit. Like, it's so bizarre. And then the second half is like this weird game. Yeah, the second half is this weird game with like fucking Sakura and Yugi. Well, yeah, because he was hosting the tournament, Kaiba could just literally just dropped in and went, "Nah, this is my tournament, get fucked." Then for some reason, I think Kaiba duels the German guy. No, here's the thing. Kaiba wasn't even in the tournament. He wasn't taking part. He was just hosting it. So then this guy starts, like, starts cheating and using, like, hacked cards and shit. That's what. How's that work? What? No, no, you do understand the guy was literally cheating, right? Yeah. Yeah, the guy's cheating, so then Kaiba, like, dropped in on a jetpack. He's like, yeah, nah, fuck that noise. Yeah, no, you're good. But no, it's fucking wacky. It's fucking wacky. And then Kaiba's like, oh, I'll duel you instead. Like, even though he's got no fucking. Like, the stakes are he's hosting the tournament. And I guess the sheer size of his ego, so I guess it makes sense. It's probably it's probably on Konami's channel on YouTube. I would be surprised if it wasn't. Imagine losing it to Come on, guys. I mean, Kaiba did. He lost fucking Battle City. Which is double funny in a way, because, like, he sets up this big virtual fucking coliseum to duel Yugi in the semifinals, loses, and then he duels Joey for third. And the duel against Joey for third, and, like, I'm not even making this up, he literally just does it then and there on the spot. It's just like on a random fucking path on the island. No special arena, no stadium or anything. Like, the only crowd is just the people that happen to be there. It's like, yeah, I guess. Also, this is almost like directly out of Joey coming out of a coma as well. Yeah, it's I don't know, man. DM's fucking funny. I didn't watch what was it after Zexel was after 5D, so that was the one about disease monsters. And that one basically just came down to, I'm not saying it was aliens, but it was aliens. You got bodied by half days guy. Nah, Kaiba did win that one to be fair, but like he was dueling Joey fresh out of a coma. Like it really wasn't much of a much of a fight. Yeah, there was Astral, and then there were these guys called the Barians who were going around disguised as humans. Spoilers for Zexel in case anyone decides to lose their mind and go and waste their life watching Zexel. Half of the cast, half of the human cast are just aliens the whole time. Although it does have the second, it does have the second coolest rival character, who is Kite Tenjo. He turns up using Galaxy Eyes monsters, and he just fucking bodies Yuma the first time he meets him. Like, Yuma's like, oh, I can't wait to see what he Z summons. He's just like, no, no, tribute summon Galaxy Eyes. Yuma's like, what the fuck is that? And just smack. It's very funny. It's very good. I think after that was Arc V, which I didn't watch. I didn't watch any of Arc V. I just a bit of a lie. I tried to watch it. I was like, no, I can't deal with this. These are literal 12-year-olds. I can't. I keep meaning to watch frames as well. How do we get onto this? Oh, right, anime influences. Actually, Reigns causes another problem. Because, once again, we have a protagonist with... Oh, he's got one signature card, right? He's got the fucking Code Talker. Oh, wait, no, there's Firewall Dragon. You're killing me. Okay, so let's make my life slightly easier. One signature monster. One subordinate. Hmm. I was about to put in a clause that said like, oh, if one character has a signature monster, someone else, like no one else can use that monster. Then I figured, nah, let's just leave it open. Oh. I don't want to call this like a backup plan, right? So the idea here is like you've got one signature monster that you usually turn to. And then you're gonna have a second one for if plan A doesn't work, see plan B. I'm not even sure about that actually. Let's take that out. Because we're gonna do something special with signature monsters. So let's maybe maybe easily. Type other beat. Let's see. Okay. Da, 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 da. Sounds like the duck. Card. Staples or support card. That's probably wrong. It should probably be a wider range than this. 40 to 40 to 8. Uh, this is a bit difficult because I've not. The deck size is kind of weird. Let's make it 10 to 10 to 16? No, 10 to 15. I'm actually thinking 10 might be a bit thin. It also means like absolutely none of the jar cards are playable. That's probably a good idea though, to be honest. The jar cards are kind of fucking wild. Okay, cool. I'm not worried about that. Okay, I think we are. No, we need to actually. Exclamation. Signature. It's a part. It's indeed. The most treasured card. Give me the second. I can always do the signature card in the main deck. Let's change that to monster, because otherwise people are going to be like, oh, but it says signature card there. Clearly that means I can have, I don't know, fucking Rageki as my signature card. Collect another short to use this in the drawn. We'll probably do Destiny draw cards as well. Guys made right. 3 and 5 cards. Nice. Destiny. They draws for turn. Use. Destiny. Instead. Absolutely. Overcasting. Destiny Force. Or they cannot form a Destiny Force. Okay, so the idea of this is that you can pick 3 to 5 cards that are your like Destiny draw cards. And at the start of your turn, instead of drawing normally, you can go, okay, I want to do a Destiny draw. So instead of drawing from your deck normally, you draw like the how do I put it? Like these cards are still in the main deck, right? So like say you've got a main deck of 10 cards and you've got 3 Destiny draw cards. The Destiny draw cards are in the main deck. But instead of drawing normally, you can go, okay, I want to do my Destiny draw. At which point you basically just take all the Destiny draw cards, shuffle them up, and then you draw one of those. Then you put the cards you didn't draw back in the main deck, and off you go. Sounds solid. We love to see it. Instead of forming, instead of doing forming Destiny Force. I'm pretty happy with those. I think those are fine. What's the other thing that we did? Actually, that's something I want to do. Okay, so action duels were weird. Let's not talk about action duels actually, because they had like some very weird rules. That was an anime thing, and we're not. It was an anime thing from Arc 5, Arc B, remember Arc B. God, I cannot speak. It's kind of important thing for a streamer, for an entertainer to be able to speak coherently, right? And I'm just not doing that shit. Like, where are we? It's like multi-person duels, so we can talk about pad duels. 2v2. Those are realistically like the only things we need to worry about for multi-person duels. You don't go above 2v2 because it gets fucking confusing. Yeah, so action duels were like... They were really weird because, like, you would... They were actually kind of cool in concept. Like, you'd summon monsters and, like, move around and stuff. Like, there's this whole thing on athleticism. I think the way it... They explained it by, like, having holographic cities in the anime. Like, specially constructed holographic fucking duel fields for you to perform these duels on. Like, the whole thing with Arc V was, like, dueling was made as, like, a... Well, obviously it was made as a form of entertainment, but it was made as, like, a particularly showy form of entertainment. The idea was, like, you would duel in front of a crowd, and part of your skill set would be to entertain the crowd while you duel. So you'd be like you'd have a level of showmanship, right? It's kind of like wrestling in that regard. Like you'd have a persona and stuff. I'm just wondering if maybe there's a universe where this game actually turns into doing that. Kind of like contests, kind of. Like the emphasis was still on battling your opponents rather than making pretty effects happen. But yeah, like there was very much this emphasis on making like interesting plays rather than like good plays. But they'd have these whole fucking environments, and one of the things that you could do would be like you'd run around and you'd be able to grab like these action cards, which were cards that would let you do extra things. Like you'd get to if you picking up like one action card might let you draw a card from your deck, right? Or like it would let you reduce the damage from an attack. Or basically, it was just a way for writers to like bullshit just pull basically just make ass pulls, right? By having them run around and pick up. Oh hey, I found this action card. It lets me reduce the damage from your attack to 0 this one time. Like, oh, that's convenient. But it's weird because if I'm remembering right, Arc V goes on into like this really fucking weird plotline where different universes are invading each other, and each universe has a different form of special summoning mechanic. So like one universe only has fucking fusion summoning, one universe has synchro summoning, um yeah, one has Z summoning, another has fucking well, it's not link summoning because it's not there yet. Link summoning didn't exist at this point. Um one of them has fucking pendulum summoning. And like you see characters from like some of the past series, like Jack Atlas turns up, right? He turns up to represent the fucking synchro boys. But yeah, yeah. But even when that's happening, right? Even when it's like the multiversal fucking God, not him. You don't love Jack Atlas? I'm sorry. You're wrong. And I'm sorry. I fucking love Jack Atlas. He's so like he's awful, but he's so good. Anyway. But yeah, even during this like multi-dimensional fucking terror war, people are still dueling, right? Because it's Yu-Gi-Oh! This is how we solve all our problems. We'll just duel each other to death. But they still have the action cards. It's they still have action cards. It makes sense. It definitely makes sense. I don't fucking know, dude. Okay, we won't talk about these right now. Actually, we will. We'll talk about it. So this is 2v2. Players take once swapping into duel. The same healthy and field, but different hands and decks. Let's kick this turbo duel into overdrive. He's the best character. I'm sorry, he's fantastic. Do. 2v2. Let's 2v2. Erect. 5 points. Fields. C. Last team with a fewest wins. Alternatively, it rights. Yeah. Okay. Let's do the results. Out. There. Okay. This is very rough. This is not how we, properly write a system. But it's here, it's fine. We don't need like the proper writing up of this here. We just need like the vague outlines, the rough ideas. Not gonna worry about this now. Okay, so we've covered that briefly. I think this resolves pretty much all the problems. Again, this is something I need to playtest. Like, we're very much at the stage now where I need to be throwing things together, finding some free time, and seeing what works and what doesn't. What we'll do for the rest of this stream here... What we'll do is we will do some ban list. Very much banned, apparently. Alright, let's... Alright, let's have a look at the forbidden list. Let's swap these over, actually. I think probably easier to read if we swap them over. Okay, so... Let me... What? We'll just write down what we want to find and put on the ban list are cards that prevent... Oh. What's that? Things. Cards that are unfun to play against. That's pretty much it, actually. We're just looking for cards that stop the game from being played and cards that aren't fun to play against. This needs to be like literally any other color. How can I even put this? We've got so little space. We just don't need it. We simply do not need it. Alright, let's go through the FNL and murder half of the fucking TCG. Arch Nemesis Protoss I think is probably okay. I think you understand how big we need everything in here. Browser. Browser must be bigger. Can't be normal sunset, must first be special. Oh, it's level 11. Stats are fine. Actually, 3 monsters with different attributes from your graveyard and or face-up field. Can't be destroyed by card effects. You can declare 1 monster attribute on the field. Destroy all monsters on the field with that attribute. Also, until the end of the next turn, neither player can special monsters with that attribute. I think it's probably okay in our format. It is oppressive. And I'm sure certain combo decks could probably pull it out fairly quickly. Actually, Yeah, actually thinking about it, I think Protoss might be just a bit too good. Although that's not a quick effect. Declare 1 monster attribute on the field, so that'd be light, dark, wind, fire, yada yada. All monsters on the field with that attribute. Oh, it can't be destroyed by card effects, so it can't destroy itself doing that. Nine players can special monsters with that attribute. That does look out like... There are certain decks that this does just die to be fair. There are also certain decks that this card does just fucking kill. I think we'll play it safe. I think Protoss is probably just a little too good. Legal. I don't want to add too many cards to the FNL here. Scythe can absolutely be banned, thank you. Scythe is a very accessible, very easy to access tool that stops your opponent's special summoning during their own turn. Barrier Statue is similarly... probably Ibid for all of the... So, Barrier Statues are a bunch of cards that were printed in the GX era, which all have a different attribute, and all of them read, neither player can special summon any monsters, except for monsters of this attribute, right? So Barrier Statue of the Soulmans stops you from specialing monsters that aren't wind. In GX, this wasn't really a problem. They had low stats. You could easily... This is still a game where, like, a viable strategy was just loading up your deck with a bunch of guys with high attack and just playing aggro. Not really something you can do today. Given that our format has so few cards and, you know, it's so easy to access cards, people playing these cards would see them very consistently. You'd be able to build a deck around, say, a wind-type monster or a fire-type monster. Pop in 3 of the Barrier Statue, you're almost certainly going to draw 1 every game. Pop it down, there you go. Your opponent is basically locked out of the game unless they happen to be playing the same attribute as you. In a game where there are like 7 or 8 attributes, yeah, no, that's not really a goer. All of those cards are getting fucking banned. Gofu is fine, Block Dragon, fine. Actually, I will probably limit Block Dragon. Actually, no, there's no point to limiting Block Dragon. Is Block Dragon a hard once per turn or soft? No, no, we'll leave him alone. Stein is fine. I want to see people... Listen, I want to see people getting crazy with it. I want to see people playing the crazy cards. Stuff like Cyberstein opens up so many doors of possibility. I want to see that shit. Cards like Dandelion. Incredible combo enablers. I want to see that shit. What we want to stop are cards that make the game not fun. Cards that stop the crazy combos. Cards that stop your opponent from playing the game outright. Release of Rituals is probably fine. It's a ritual card. Not too concerned. Fairy Tale Snow. I think Snow is fine. In this format specifically, you're not going to get many Snow activations. So Snow's The problem with Snow is that it's an incredible disruption tool. What it does is when it's summoned or special summoned, it flips one card face down. It doesn't sound like much, but it can do that. It's a quick effect, so it can do it basically whenever it feels like. It can do it from the grave, it can do it from the hand. And flipping a monster face down does weird things to it. You can use it to dodge certain effects, you can use it to swap a monster from attack to defense. You can use it to prevent certain effects from resolving. Particularly in the 5Ds era, you had a lot of cards that read, this card has to be face up on the field to activate and resolve this effect. Meaning, if you activated its effect, but then it got flipped face down before it could resolve that effect, the effect wouldn't happen, because it is no longer face up. The caveat to this is you have to banish 7 cards from your graveyard. The decks that run Snow can do this fairly easily, but I think Snow might be the first card we limit, actually. But see, the thing is, the card pools are so limited, you're not going to see more than 2 Snow activations. Unless you can loop cards from being banished. I'm thinking limiting Snow might be fucking pointless then. We'll leave it. Fiber Jar is probably the one jar that we can leave legal, although it does reset games. Nah, like a jar can be legal. Fishborg is fine, Glutball is fine, Grinding Golem also fine, Love Leader fine, Scientist, sure. Kirin can stay. Masterpiece. Nah, Masterpiece's big problem is that he's a towers. But if you're packing... the issue with that is that you have to pack Kaijus. Yeah, we probably do need to ban Masterpiece, to be honest. He's probably just a little too... What do we? Hold on. I don't remember exactly how Masterpiece works here. Okay, you can continue spell trap cards you control as well as monsters. Unaffected by the effects of cards with the same card type as the original card type of the card attributed for its tribute summon. So if you sack a monster and a trap for him, he's unaffected by monster effects and trap effects. If you sacrifice a spell and a trap for him, he's immune to spells and traps. You get the picture. Once per turn during either player's turn, you control this tribute summon monster. You can banish one continuous spell trap from your grave and target one of the cards on the field, destroy it. And he's at 2950. So the big problem with Masterpiece is that he's unaffected. There are cards that are legal in the game that read unaffected. See, the one problem with this is that Masterpiece could be very abusable. If you make Masterpiece your signature card, and then load up your deck with continuous spells, continuous traps, easy to summon monsters, you can consistently get this guy out immune to whatever you want him to be immune to. Which basically forces your opponents to run Kaiju. Or their own unaffected monsters, because, you know, even if you're running a bigger monster, he can banish a spell trap and just pop your card. Probably one of the ones that he just used to summon himself. That said, I think there are stronger monsters that are still legal. I think we're okay with Masterpiece being unbanned. I think Masterpiece might be fine. Maybe limit him. We'll limit him. We'll limit Masterpiece. I think he falls into powerful, but not powerful enough to be banned. He doesn't necessarily lock your opponent out of the game. Like, you can still play cards. If your opponent has Masterpiece up, the big problem is, okay, how do I get rid of Masterpiece? It's not, well, now I can't do anything. I have to wait until my next turn, or I just can't do anything. That said, I think he's probably hard enough to out that once he is gone, you know, you shouldn't have to worry about your opponent being like, here's the second Masterpiece from my hand. Max C is fine. So, Max C. Let's talk about Maximum C, shall we? I know what this card does very well. So, Max C. During either player's turn, you can send this card from your hand to the graveyard. This turn, each time your opponent special summons a monster, immediately draw one card. You can only use one Max C per turn. Notorious card, this one. Because basically any deck in the modern game will focus on special summoning monsters. There are only 3 decks that don't special monsters. Funnily enough, Masterpiece is part of one of them. True Kings don't tend to special summon monsters. Or I should probably say, Draco Slayers, but splitting hairs. The other ones are Flandries and Monarchs. These are like the 3 decks that just do not special summon. Every other deck in the game will be special summoning, which means Max C is always a good card in your deck. At the very least, you can activate it in response to your opponent activating an effect that special summons a card. Unless it's an inherent summon, I believe, but I could be using that terminology incorrectly. The point is, Max C, at worst, against the vast majority of decks, is a 1-for-1. Right? You activate Max C, you'll draw at least one card. In a lot of cases, it means your opponent has to finish their turn, or else they're going to fill your hand. One of the arguments against Max C, or one of the arguments that says, oh, Max C isn't that bad, people bring up, oh, well, you can use the Max C to make your opponent deck out. Usually that's not really true. You'd have to special summon like 40 times to make that happen. In this game, maximum deck size is 15 cards. Most of the time it's going to be 10. You can quite easily special summon that many times. Especially if you're pulling things out of the extra deck, if you're pulling things back from the graveyard of the banished. Yeah, running Maxi is an occupational hazard. Play it if you want to, but be ready for your opponent to deck you out at some point. Funny shit. I think Maxi is probably fine. I am tempted to put it to 1. No, we don't put it to 1. We either ban it or we leave it. Actually, you know, I stand in solidarity with the Master Duel players. This is very much a political move. I think Maxi could be played in the game just fine, but out of principle, fuck Maxi. My Master is fine, Hop Horror. You know what, Orcus players, I'll extend the olive branch to you. You can have Hop Horror. You can have 3 of them, fuck it. Flashfire, sure. Amaryllis is responsible for certain loop combos. It's fine. Redox, have them at 3. Toad, fine. Spiral, Master Plan. I don't think we can have Master Plan legal. I think Master Plan is probably far too good. As Spiral Mission card from your deck to your hand, if this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, and on Spiral Resort, or Spiral Monster from your deck to your hand, then use this effect to Spiral Monster Plan last return. Ah, okay, here's the rest of the fucking Spiral cards. What are we looking for here? Spiral Mission, Spiral Resort, and any Spiral Monster. Well, any Spiral Monster is kind of fucking big, and just so we're under no illusions, chat room, sending this card to the grave, not difficult. Not at all difficult in the era of Link monsters. I want Spiral Mission card. We need to see the Spiral Mission cards. Spiral Mission Soul. Once per turn, Spiral Monster you control destroys the monster by battle. If you destroy a card on the field, Spiral Monster's effect, you can draw 1. That's pretty big. I don't think Recapture or Rescue really could be worth reading, but it might be big. Special to your field, you can target 1 with super. Take control of it until the end phase. Okay, I have changed my mind. That is very powerful. I don't care that that's a trap card, and therefore it is slow. OP as fuck. Yeah, I can understand why Master Plan is fucking bad. Once per turn you can target 1 Spiral Monster in grave, add it to your hand. Banish this card from your grave, target 1 Spiral Monster in your graveyard special. And then what's the... That's the Spiral Missions. Spiral Resort was the other card we're looking for. That's Last Resort. Which isn't Resort, by the way. Different cards. Don't count target other spell cards you control with card. Well then! No, that's fine. Once per turn you can add 1 spell monster from your deck to your hand. Once per turn during your end phase, shuffle 1 monster from your graveyard into the deck or destroy this card. So here's the thing. Field spells aren't really something we're using. And by that I mean, so part of the thing of this game is like, the field spell in play is determined by where you're actually dueling. Like some real duel monsters, early duel monsters shit, right? Oh, we're dueling in the forest? Then it counts like the fucking forest field spells in play. Oh, we're dueling in the wasteland. It's going to be wasteland. We're dueling on the sea. You know what, chat? We don't have the time to talk about Umi today. Okay. There's, Umi is a very funny card because you have Umi itself, and you have several different field spells, including archetype field spells, that all do different things, but all of them count as count their name as Umi. You can't play all of these cards in the same deck because you can only have 3 cards with the same name in a deck, right? So, for example, you can only have 3 cards that are called Blue Eyes White Dragon in your deck. There are some cards that change their name based on different factors, or that are treated as being, you know, called something else. However, all these cards are called Umi. They call themselves Umi in such a way that they don't work around the whole, oh, you can only have 3 of the same card in your deck. It is very weird and kind of funny that, like, there's something like 4 different cards. What was it? It's the, I think it's like the Marensis field spell, the Phantasm City field spell, a legendary ocean. I swear there's another one as well. And then, like, the original Umi. But all of them are like, no, I'm Umi. Funny shit. So, anyway, we're not using field spells in, like, the conventional manner, so they wouldn't be able to add Spiral Resort, so they'd only be able to grab the Spiral Monster. They can grab a Spiral Mission. I think it's okay. I think it's okay. I think it's because there's no field spells. They can't grab this, which means they can't grab their targeting protection. Once per turn, you can add 1 Spiral Monster from your deck to your hand. Once per turn during your phase, shuffle 1 monster from your graveyard into the deck or destroy this card. Well, that means they don't get that recursion. I think it's okay. I think we can actually leave Master Plan legal. Maybe I'll regret it, but right now I think it's okay. Turret Neptune. So this is banned because it does weird stuff with names. It can make some FTK bullshit. I think Turret Neptune probably needs to be banned. Tidal's fine, Victory Dragon's fine. Elder Entity Norden is a combo guy. Supreme King Dragon Starving Venom, he does. God, I know he's responsible for, like, some degenerate bullshit. Fusion or special by changing the magic control. What's percent card? One of the monster on the field or in the grave, and this card name becomes that monster's original name and replace this effect with that monster's original effects. Also, for the rest of the turn, if you besides defense position monster and flip fiends and jams. You don't want to. Okay. Yeah, the issue here is that it's copying names and effects from the graveyard. Yeah, I'm gonna ban it on the same lines as Tyrant Neptune. Kit Callus can come back. My boy Thunder Dragon Colossus can finally be freed from the ban list. We will limit him though. Hulk. So Hulk is banned because it's a massive combo enabler, enable some really degenerate shit, I think it's fine. I think we can allow him. Curious can stay. Anger Pain, LP, I think those are probably fine. Again, the point of this is to see crazy combos. Although, saying that... Now, we'll leave it for now. Electromite is probably fine. Goblin is fine. Mermaid is fine. Linkross, probably fine. Auroradon, fine. Meow Meow Moo, fine. Spurty Anaconda, fine. Simorg. I think Simorg might be too far. Special summon one wing beast monster if you hand a deck with level equal to or lower than some. Total number of unused spell and trap zones on the field you're going to use once per turn. I think we'll leave him. Elf is fine, Sorceress is fine, Scarecrow's fine, Gumbler... No. No, Gumbler Dragon is responsible for some incredibly degenerate hand loop strategies in the past. We are not letting that happen. Union Carrier absolutely needs to be forbidden. Anything to keep people off the fucking Buster Lock. Maybe I should just ban the fucking Dragon Buster sword thing. Nah, we'll just ban Union Carrier. Chaos Ruler's fine. Ib, if people want to break Ib in this, go right on ahead. Tempest Magician. I actually don't know what Tempest Magician does. Oh god, that is a description made for ants. This card is Synchro Summon, place one spell counter on it. Once per turn, you can discard any number of cards to place one spell counter on the monster you control for each card you discarded. You can remove all spell counters on the field to flip 500 damage to your opponent for each removed spell counter. Ah, I see, you're Burn Turbo. How much could you do with that in a single turn? Let's say you have a full grip of 6. Actually, let's say you've got a full grip of 5. Once per turn, you can discard any number of cards to place one spell counter on the monster you control for each card you discarded. So it has to be monsters you control. You can only place one spell counter per monster, so you'd have to have a full field. You'll discarding 5 to do this. That puts 5 plus the 1 from Synchro Summoning in the first place, so you've got 6. You can remove all spell counters on the field to inflict 500 damage to your opponent for each removed spell counter. So on its own, it can rack up 6 relatively easily. That said, there are strategies that can build up spell counters really quickly. Let's say there were 2 on there, 7 on there. 2, 2. So I call that 6 instead. That'd be 12 plus 6, which would be 18. That is easily over lethal, holy shit. Okay, you can't come back. Jesus Christ. It took me a bit of mathsing there, but between the Endymion shit and certain other cards in the game, you would need 20 spell counters on the field to do 8k damage. That's very easy to do, and it's a soft once per turn as well. Holy shit. It's not even... Wait, is this not even a once per turn? Oh my god, that's not even once per turn. Yeah, this This cannot be allowed to exist in the format. Holy shit. Woo! No. It's like Yu-Gi-Oh's Dragon. Oh my god. Uh, Chain is fine. Invoke is fine. Shockmaster. I don't think there's a universe where you can come back. Once per turn, detach one disease material from this card. Declare a card type. That type of card can't be activated or can't activate its effects until the end of your opponent's next turn. It's Cold Wave! It's Cold Wave all over again. We're not doing that. Nope. Shockmaster on the list. Tomahawk is fine. Rongo Bongo can fuck off. This guy, I think if you do it right, he becomes literally unoutable. Like, you cannot kill him. So, 2 or more level 4 warrior monsters. Not as hard to achieve as you might think. Once per turn during your opponent's end phase, detach one material from this card. This card gains effects based on the number of materials attached to it. Here's the thing. What level is he? He's level 4. He's rank 4. I know there's ways to cheat him onto bigger cards as well. So, if it's got 1 material, can't be destroyed by battle. 2 materials, gains 1500 attack and defense. So it becomes a 3000, 3000. 3 plus. Unaffected by other cards' effects. Oh boy, this is going great. 4. Your opponent cannot normal or special summon monsters. That line right there. Listen. These 3, absolutely fine. No problem with any of these. This is what's going to get banned. And then this, that's just the cherry on top. Destroy all cards your opponent controls? Who cares? By the time we're here, we've got a guy with 3000 attack and defense, unaffected by other cards, can't be destroyed by battle. If you can find ways to add materials to this guy, he becomes utterly unoutable. Yeah, there is no way Rongo Bongo's coming back. No fucking shot. Giblosis. Not fun to play against. Not gonna be in the format. Gexai's Dark Matter Dragon. I know this guy's been on the list since like day 1. One of the few cards that's actually forbidden in both the TCG and OCG. You summon this card using Galaxy Eyes you control. Can't be used to seize material for a Z summon. This card is summoned, you can send 3 Dragon type monsters with different names from your deck to the graveyard. Opponent banishes 3 monsters from their deck. That is pretty fucking strong, holy shit! Attach one Z's material from this card. This card can make up to 2 attacks on monsters during each battle phase this turn. And it's got 4000 attack. Yeah. Your opponent banishes 3 monsters from their deck is pretty fucking strong. I think he might be okay, though. We're going to limit this. Yeah, we'll limit Caxiai's Dark Matter. I think it's powerful. It has potential. I think if you could find a way to make 3 of it in a turn, it would be just unstoppably fucking strong. I think with just 1, it's probably okay. Utopic Zexal is another one that I'm not particularly familiar with. Can you tell that I wasn't playing during the Z era? Three numbers these monsters with the same rank. Also, discarding one rank up magic normal spell. Using the Utopian once you control a Z's material. A Z summon cannot be negated. And Z summoned, your opponent's. Hold on, does that say? That is a Z summon. Why is that a Z summon? That's silly. That should be a special. When Z summoned, your opponent's cards and effects can't be activated. Alright, so you can't catch it with like a bottomless or something. Gains 1,000 attack and defense for each of its material attached to it. I mean, he can get very big in the right conditions, but I'm not too concerned about that. Once per opponent's turn, you can detach one of these material from his card. Your opponent's cards and effects can't be activated this turn, and that's going to get you banned. Rip and kill Utopic Zexal. Fuck, whoops. Rip and kill Utopic Zexal. So it's not the easiest to bring out except in Utopia decks, which is where it's going to be played anyway. But also, detaching material, your opponent's cards and effects can't be activated this turn. That's a quick effect. So unless your opponent has something they can chain to that, you can actually just turn off their entire hand and board. And that's what we're, again, not about. If that read banish all of the cards on your opponent's field, fine. No issue with that. In fact, there's a card that sort of does that anyway called Zeus, which is easier to bring out than this. Zeus is fine. Run 3 Zeus for all I care. But this stops your opponent playing the game, and that's not what we're about. Outer Entity as a thought. Also, let's all laugh at the name thought. Ha ha ha. Funny word. Okay, these guys were all kind of insane. Use an outer entity you control as material. That's pretty crazy. That's pretty wacky. Can be used as material for a Z summon. After your opponent counteractivates monster effects for the rest of that turn. Either at least 3 Z's materials, 1 fusion synchro Z's. Attach 1 material from this card, destroy all cards your opponent controls. Wait, what? How are you? Okay, there's probably some sort of interaction that I'm not aware of here. Also, you see some of this card using an outer entity you controls material. After this card is summoned, your opponent can't activate monster effects for the rest of that turn. I think this is actually okay. I don't have too much of a problem with this. Your opponent can't activate monster effects for the rest of that turn, which is going to be during your turn. But, like, that doesn't stop you from, I don't know, like, flipping Tarantula or whatever. Haha, true king of all calamities. Oh, if you think this is escaping the ban list, you are fucking mistaken. Zenmacy is fine, Broad Ball is fine, Trident is gonna be limited. Brilliant Fusion is fine, Butterfly Dagger Elmer probably should be banned. Card of Safe Return I don't have a problem with. Chicken Game is one of my favourite cards of all time. It is also a field spell, so we don't really care about it. Cold Wave. It's kind of on the list. You remember what I was saying about Shockmaster? Yeah, no way this card can exist in the game. Confiscation. And Delinquent Duo. probably a little too strong. We are playing with reduced hand sizes, and both these read kick the best card out of your opponent's hand. Dimension Fusion is fine. Giant Trunade is... Nah, Trunade's alright. Graceful Charity is pretty much a draw 5. Nah, we'll leave it. We'll leave Graceful Charity. Surely this card won't be a problem. Yeah, I think we limit Graceful Charity. Hexstorm is fine. Kaiser Colosseum... Oh god, KC. I think we will ban KC. There's one or more monsters on the field of the controller of this card. His or her opponent cannot place a monster on the field if his or her number of monsters would exceed the number of monsters are on the field of this card's controller. So you can never have more cards, more monsters on the field than your opponent. Here's the thing. All you have to do is set up one powerful monster, or even just one monster that your opponent can't really get rid of. Then go, KC. Yeah, have fun playing through that, asshole. Kaiser Colosseum on the list. I don't have a problem with Last Will, I don't have a problem with Mass Driver, I don't have a problem with Metamorphosis. Mirage of Nightmare, Nightmare is fine. Mystic Mine needs to go on the list. Painful Choice is fine, Plot of Greed is fine, Premature Burial, sure. Smoke Grenade is also fine, Snatch Steal, go ahead. Soul Charge, shoot, go for it. That grass looks greener. Absolutely fine. Forceful Sentry is pretty okay, I think. Take your opponent's hand, select one card among them, and return it to his or her deck. Yeah, sure. If you want to run the Forceful Sentry, go ahead. Zodiac Barrage is... I'm constantly hearing that this is the problem card with Zoo, and that if it came back, Zoo would be an unstoppable force. I have yet to see it. Not one face-up card you control, destroy it if you do special on one Zodiac monster from your deck. Oh. Oh, I understand. This card is destroyed by a card effect sent to the graveyard. You can target one Zodiac Z's monster you control. Attach this card from your graveyard to that Z's monster as Z's material. Nah, fuck it, they can have it. They can have it. I've left worse off. Pointer is probably fine. Expulsion is probably fine. Imperial Order! Get that shit the fuck out of here. No, we're not doing that. Imperial Order, banned. Last turn, we'll ban last turn as well. I'm sorry, last turn is funny. I know, it's funny. We all like last turn, it was very funny when MBT and CMO did that thing. I'm just gonna save all the GMs the headache of having to mess with fucking last turn and decipher that card. I'll explain last turn to you guys one day. We really do not have the time for it today. I know I said that about Umi and then kind of explained Umi. I'm not explaining last turn, right? We're not doing that. Red Reboot's probably fine. Return from Different Dimensions probably fine. Royal Oppression! Royal ass. Get him out of my fucking game. Self-destruct button is another funny card that always leads to drawn games. I think Konami's right in trying not to shoot for drawn games. We'll get self-destruct button out of here. 6 sensors, probably okay. Trap Dust Shoot's fine. Ultimate Offering's fine. Mancy's Emptiness. No. Fuck right off. I might just ban Exodia the Forbidden One. Not for any real reason other than I think it's funny. I know that kills certain decks that need Exodia, but don't actually run Exodia strategies, like Exodia Necros and stuff. I think Exodia is just too powerful for this game. I mean, for fuck's sake, your deck can be 10 cards big. Graceful Charity and Pot of Greed are both not even limited. Oh god, I didn't even limit. I'm going to go ahead and limit Pot of Greed. I've just realised how bad an idea having 3 of that card is. Arguably, having even 1 is a fucking awful idea, but hey. Yeah, there's not really any way of, like, letting those strategies live while also letting Exodia live as a strategy, so yeah, I'm sorry. He's gotta be banned, it's true. Akido's fine, Armageddon Knight's fine, Ashrath is probably fine. Flap Serpent Blaster, Cyberjar! He's gotta go. Look, guys, I fucking love Cyberjar. I think it's one of the funniest cards in the game. It will tear decks apart. It will absolutely lead to games where it's just, oh, I have decks out. Jackalope, Tsuchinoko, Greffer, Pank, Burncy Archfiend, Kelbeck, Keldo, Lunar Light Tiger, Circular, Misk, Morphing Jar. Morphing Jar's already been banned. Fedora, Monkey Board, Phantom Skyblaster, fucking Gamma. Wild. Red Rose Dragon, Gazelle, Terratops, Substitute, Havness Murdy, Shiren, Tempest, Wyverbuster, Rapier, Gemini Master Diamond. I think these are all fine. Strike Dragon's fine, AFD's fine, Posterati, you could have that like a million copies, it wouldn't fucking matter. Denglong, he's fine. Omega, Hyper Library. Fucking Christ, Hyper Librarian. I'm considering if we ban this. Hyper Librarian reads. Oh, why Fairy Dragon? Oh no, we don't need to ban Fairy Dragon at all. Fairy Dragon could be like a million copies, it really doesn't matter. It was banned because it used to be none of its effects were hard once per turns. So you could cycle through Fairy Dragons and find like 3 field spells and just really do some crazy stuff with that shit. Since then it's been errated. How many synchros were actually banned? Yeah, only 3 synchros are banned in the TCG, and we've banned one of them ourselves. We've banned Tempest Magician. This is the limited list, so these are cards that are only at 1 in the TCG, and I don't think we need to worry about any of these. Maybe the exception of Hyper Librarian. Hyper Librarian draws you 1 every single time you synchro, which synchro decks can spam synchro very easily. That said, I think it's okay. A Rise Heart. Well, there's no way a Rise Heart is escaping this ban list. The question is, at what level are we banning this man? Can also seize him by using one Kashtira monster you control, an effect of Shangri-Era, which is another card we'll need to talk about, will successfully activate in this turn. Also, some materials. Any card sent to the graveyard is banished instead. Don't like that. Once per chain, each time a card is banished, attach one banished card to this card as material. Once per turn, you can detach shooting materials from this card and target one card on the field, banish it face down. Interestingly, it doesn't have any inbuilt protection. Any card sent to the graveyard is banished instead. That is a problem because that turns off a lot of stuff. Off the top of my head, a lot of synchro strategies, Drake Unity, go out the window. Tear Shadow invoked. They all fucking die at the hands of this. Any sort of Dragon Link dies. Actually, pretty much anything Dragons, period, dies. Sword Soul fucking like Sedusto. I think we probably ban him. How bad is Shangri-Era? Fuck is that meant to be? The fucking Death Star? Jesus. You stand by, you can special summon the Cashier monster in your deck. You know, your spirit of effective Shangri-Era once per turn. Each time you card your opponent owns and possesses banished face down. Use one unused main monster zone or spell trap. It can be used while this monster is face up on the field. Okay, so I think we ban Shangri-Era. So each time a card your opponent owns and possesses is banished face down, you can choose one unused main monster zone or spell trap zone. It can be used while this monster is face up on the field. I have seen people use this card to horrific effect, to the point where the entirety of the opponent's field is locked down. Have fun literally not playing the game. If this card on the field would be destroyed by battle or card effect, you can detach one material from this card instead. Well, that's fine, it doesn't need material to activate its effects. Yeah, I don't care that it's got 0 attack and 3000 defense. The attack's not the point. What has a fucking trivia page? Yeah, I think we get rid of this guy. I think we probably limit a Rise Hot to 1. So if you want to play him, you've got to get the 3 level 7s out. You could use a Kashtira monster, but to do that, you'd have to have the Shangri-Era effects go off. Which, if Shangri-Era is banned, explain to me how the fuck you're doing that. Yeah. Actually, at that point, I don't think we even need to, like, limit a Rise Heart. I think he's fine at... Oh god, hold on, that's not a hard once per turn. Oh, and then it's still got... Yeah. I think I'll set the reverse bash instead. Once per chain, each time a card... Match this card. Yeah, so there's no way we couldn't have him at, like, 1. Because, yeah, you've got to get 3 level 7s to bring him out, but... having more than one of this guy out is going to be absolutely oppressive. See, the problem is, like, the Kashtira cards, the Kashtira game plan is just miserable to play against. You've got this guy who's a walking macrocosmos, which reminds me. Macrocosmos and Fissure, both on the list. Yeah, we'll let a Rice Heart live. Limited, but we'll let him live. Shangri-Ira cannot stay, I'm sorry. There is no fucking way that card can stay. It's hard to out, it locks the opponent's board, it's very easy to summon in the first place. It enables a Rice Heart to be brought out a lot more easily, which then feeds into it and makes it more powerful. Nah. Whoops. Don't worry, chat room, I'm on top of this. What the fuck is its name? Angry Era. Don't copy the fucking hyperlink, come on. Is he though? Yes. Probably. Maybe. Cool Boy. Cool Boy is fine. Card Destruction has already been banned. Card of Demise. Yeah, you can keep Card of Demise, that's fine. Change Strike. Sure. Change of Heart should probably be limited to 1. It doesn't feel good to lose to Change of Heart. Divine Wind of Abyss Valley is fine. Dragonic Diagram is fine. Final Countdown! Okay. So, Final Countdown requires 20 turns to pass before you win the duel. That's what Final Countdown does, is when you play it, each turn you add 1 to the counter, and when the counter reaches 20, you win the duel. Which is very funny. Slight problem. The decks in this game are only 15 cards big. You can find ways of cycling cards back into your deck from the graveyard. But, yeah, you're gambling on opening Final Countdown. You're going to have to build the rest of your deck around Final Countdown. You're probably going to get claps because you've built your deck around Final Countdown. If you want to go for it, sure. It's very funny. Look at Light Swan. Yeah, I mean, Light Swan is self-mill turbo. But yeah, you need to have a strategy for what if I don't win in time. Foolish Burial's fine. Gateway of the 6. Gateway of the 6. Each time a 6 Saturn is normal special summoned, place 2 Bushido counters on this card. You can remove Bushido counters from your field to activate these effects. 2 counters. Target a 6 Samuel Shien effect monster. The target gains 500 attack until the end of this turn. 4 counters. And a 6 Sam monster from your deck called Graveyard to your hand. 6 counters. Target a Shien effect monster in your graveyard. Special that target. None of these are once per turn. It would be incredibly hypocritical for me to ban this card, however, because I've allowed so much combo stuff to exist. I'm going to limit it, though. I'm going to limit Gateway of the 6, because because I have that power. Goldsock is fine. Harvey Duster is fine. Infinity Launcher? Sure. Instant Fusion? Go for it. Into the Void is limited? Really? Wild. I don't have a problem with Into the Void, it's very funny. Magical Midbreaker Field. Activate this card at the start of your main phase 1 2. During each player's main phase 1, monsters on the field can't be destroyed by their opponent's card effects. Also, neither player can target monsters their opponent controls. Cannot activate or set field spell. Oh, well, it's a field spell, so it's already banned. We don't need to worry about that. Mindcon. Probably okay. Yeah, Mindcon's fine. Monster Gate's fine. Monster Reborn is probably going to be limited. One Day of Peace, probably also limited. Because stall strategies. 1-for-1 is fine. I don't know why they limited Delicious Memory. Like, the deck's not even fucking... It's been out maybe 10 minutes. Reasoning can stay, Rota can stay, Sega's Light can stay. Set rotation does not matter at all. Hornet drones. It's fine, I think. Slash draw. If someone can pull off slash draw, absolutely. I'm not limiting slash draw, no way. Spellbook of Judgment is fine. Terraforming is fine. Upstart Goblin is... We're going to limit Upstart Goblin as well, I think. Magical Explosion is probably okay. Yeah. No cards in hand, 200 damage to your opponent for each spell card in your graveyard. Sure. Stage 3 is fine. Time Seal, sure. If you want to play Time Seal, go ahead. Alright, and the semi-limits. Malicious is fine. Herald of Orange Light is fine. Unicorn. We've banned like the worst of Kashtira. I don't think Unicorn's a problem. Lightning Storm is the most mind-boggling semi-limit I've ever seen. It could be at 3, no problem. Plot of Desires is a very fast way to deck yourself out. It is absolutely fine in our formats. Runic Fountain, I think is... It might be a field spell, actually. It is a field spell, we don't have any problems. Yeah, it's a field spell. Engage! Yeah, I'm banning that shit. Fuck out of my format. So, Engage, in case you don't know, is Pot of Greed, but better. For exactly one archetype. We're not doing that. Not a Nokia, shut up! Not that kind of Engage. Mobile Engage, for fuck's sake. Well, that's starter. Special sprite from your deck. Lose life points equal to its original attack. Also, for the rest of the turn, after this card resolves, you can't special summon monsters except lower rank link 2. That's fine, you can have sprite starter. Is it a quick play? No shot is that a quick play. Why is that a quick play? What the fuck? It's still fine. I'm not worried about that. Steamed Cloak is fine. Ally Birdman is fine. Samzara Lotus is fine. Quick Fix is fine. Recital Starling is fine. Face Off is fine. And Multi-Roll. I'm gonna limit multi-roll as well, I think. I think this puts Striker in a position where it's still playable, but it's not like offensively strong. Okay, there are some other cards that I am going to be banning. So there can be only one. Get that crap out of my format. We're not playing that. There's a match. Rivalry of Warlords. Summon limit. Oh, what's the other one? Tipu goes on rivalry, summon limit. I could have sworn there was a fourth one, I'm forgetting. I'm going to limit. Where is she? Oh, should all window. Should I just make sure I'm not making a mistake here? Nope, it is El Shaddai Wonder. Good. Because some of the Shadow cards have some very weird naming conventions where they... there's a card called Shadow Construct, and also a card called El Shadow Construct. El Shadow Construct came many years before Shadow Construct, confusingly. So, players have been caught out by writing Shadow Construct on deck lists at tournaments, and then running El Shadow Construct, and Tio's going, no, 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 you said Shadow Construct. You're playing Shadow Construct, buddy. You're not playing El Shadow Construct, because that's not what's on the list. But anyway, let's make sure we're actually naming the right fucking cards. This is gonna annoy me, so let me just check. Where are the fucking... Noticeable floodgates? Are you fucking kidding me? Yeah, that's what I wanted to see. There's a lot of floodgates that we don't really care about because they're not particularly effective. But we do need to check all of these. Spirit monsters can't activate their effects. Monsters. No. Yeah, I think a mono water is fine. Christian's fine. We've already banned the barrier statues. Consecrated light. Let's see. Let's play a normal special summon Dark Monster to attack with the Dark Monster. Card count would be destroyed by a sort of Dark Monster. Also take no pass damage from that battle. Okay. No, that's fine. That can stay. Sekka's fine. Plasma's fine. Flying Sea's probably fine. Let me read Flying Sea. It's a member of the Sea archetype, you see. When normal special is a monster, except during damage stat, you can special this card from your hat. When normal special is a monster, you can special this card. The controller of this card can't see someone. Oh, you special it to your opponent's field. The controller of this card can't see someone. That's fine. It's too specific to really be a problem. All you have to do is run like any Link 1 or a Link 2 that will just take a generic material and you can just out this very easily. It's really not a problem. Fossil Dyna Pachycelopho. Oh, yeah. Neither player can special summon monsters. Uh, yeah. See, it's got low stats, so it's relatively easy to out, that's the thing. If you can just normal summon a slightly bigger guy. I think he's okay. I think we might limit him, though. Fossil Diner, Peggy Cello. Fellow. Yeah, get him out of here. Inspectable is just not fun, so... Ah, we might even ban it, hold on. Just based on it not being fun to play against. Like, literally, that's it. It can't be normal, especially if you control a monster. Let me scroll over. There we go. Another player can activate a monster effect unless the number of monster effects that player has previously activated that turn is less than the number of monster card types currently on the field between Ritual, Fusion, Synchronicities, Pendulum, and Link. An effect's activation was negated, it still counts towards the total for that turn. Only count effects that were activated while this monster was face up on the field. Oh god. Okay, he's a pain, so we'll limit him. He doesn't need to be banned. Jinzo is... Thank you. Jinzo's fine, Ibli is fine, Rhaego's probably fine, Kaiku the Ghost Destroyer, absolutely fine. Majesty's Fiend is probably alright, Spell Counselor, Thunder King Ryo. Neither player can add cards from their deck to their hand except by drawing them. During either player's turn, when your opponent will special summon his ID one monster, you can send this card to negate special summon if you do destroy it. Thunder King is fine. What does Generator of Rituals do? When you ritual summon a monster, you can banish the card from your graveyard as one of the monsters required. Player ritual summons using this card. The other player can't special summon while that ritual summon monster is face up on the field. We may have erred slightly, chat. We may have made a slight mistake. I may have believed for a slight moment in time that that card could remain unbanned. No. No, in fact. This card is not remaining unbanned. This card is very much going on the forbidden list. We're not playing with that shit. I was like, oh, hey, well, you know, ritual decks, generally speaking, aren't particularly good, you know, let's throw him a bone. How bad can he be? Turns out he turns everything into a fucking special summon block. Let's not have that. Winter's fine, Caliga's fine. Darklaw is not particularly fun, but he's okay. Exterior is also okay. Last Warrior is already banned. Thousand Eyes restricts. Other monsters that feel can't change their battle positions or attack. Once per turn, cannot once your opponent controls. Yeah, I'm not worried about this actually, it's fine. Barkion and Beast are both fine. Abyss Dweller is fine. Ophion is also probably fine. Once card has disease material level 5 or higher monsters can't be specialed. Once per turn you can detach one disease material from this card, add one infestation spell trap from your deck to your hand. I think Ophion's fine. Yeah, Ophion's fine. Dimphis. Already banned. KC already banned. Domain of the True Monarchs. You have no cards in your extra. You are the only player that controls the troops and monsters. Your opponent can't special summon monsters from the extra deck. Tribute some monsters you control. I think I'm gonna ban this. Oh, it's a field spell. Never mind. We're good. Job done. Problem solved. Level limit area B is absolutely fine. Messenger of Peace is potentially a problem, actually. Look at that bird. Once with 1500 or more attack counts to attack, once per turn during his family, pay 100 or destroy this card. It feels fucking weird, but I think we have to ban Messenger of Peace. Because the thing is... Unfield spells. Yeah. I won't deny it. No, okay, hold on. Some of my favorite spells I feel. But no, we don't have Chicken Game. We don't have Magical Meltdown. What other field spells are? I swear I have more than 2 field spells. Like... No, the actual reason is because, again, the idea is that the field will be just wherever the people are dueling. So then having field spells kind of doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Anyway, I think we ban Messenger of Peace because with such small decks, Messenger of Peace really does just read, yeah, you're not deciding this one by, like, life point damage, that's just not happening. Oops. Big. Big is huge, even. Which feels fucking... Actually, we'll limit it. We'll limit it. It's not the end of the world. It's limited. Because at the end of the day, you can still out it fairly easily. Mine already banned. Necro Valley, field spell. Quiet Life, does not matter. Secret Village, also a field spell. Sort of. I mean, I guess technically Swords is a floodgate. And ban played on. Anti-spell fragrance, I think is probably okay. We might limit it. Yeah, I think limiting anti-spell is probably a good idea. What the fuck is Eisbarn? I've never seen this card before, like, at any point in my entire life. Non-water monster is normal special while you control a water monster. Change that summon monster to defense. Okay, it's funny. Gozen, we already put on the list. Imperial Iron Wall is fine. Imperial Order. Did we put on Imperial Order? Yes, we did. Light Pressing Mirror is fine. Lose one turn is fine. Macro is already on the list. Musk of Restrict is fine. Mind Drain, mistake. Correctly 8. Rivalry of Warlords, already on. Royal Decree. Which one was Royal Oppression, then? Either player can pay 800 to negate the special summon of a monster, and or an effect special summons a monster and destroy this card. Yeah, well, Oppression can stay banned. Yeah. We'll ban decree. Actually, we might limit royal decree. I don't think it's as bad. Nah, we'll just ban it. Fuck it. Shadow Imprisoning is fine. Skill Drain. Oh, Skill Drain! That was it! Yep, Skill Drain, get it out of here. Skill Drain, Stygian Dirge, Summon Limit, Monster Ups. Yeah, we need to get rid of. Rups is definitely too fucking powerful. Teak Boost fine, Emptiness. No, Teak Boost already banned. Mantis is banned, and Wall of Revealing Light is fine. Woo! Ban Oppression, if only. True. Alright, and that's it. That's every single card that we're gonna ban or limit. That's how big is this list actually? I'm curious. Get rid of that. Can't be bothered to count properly. Wow. That's 44 cards banned and 17 limited. So that's what? 61 cards? That feels good. That feels pretty good. Oh, actually, this should be like 5 or 6 cards bigger. So just under 70 cards. Okay. I think that's good. No doubt people would have problems with my choices, but that's just part of the deal. Alright, nice. Nice work. So from this point on, what I'm going to need to do is I'm going to need to actually test this. I don't think I can go any further with this until I've done that, which will happen off stream. So I don't know when we'll actually get back to. Oh, we should be fine to get back to this next Sunday. I should have it done by then. But if I don't, I will find something else for us to do that is vaguely related to this. So this is where we're at with it right now. I'm pretty happy with this. Okay, so chat, here's the deal. Here's the scoop. Here's what's gonna happen. It's currently just past 5:30. I do need to do the second part of the stream, so what I'm gonna do is we're gonna wrap up here for now. I'm gonna get some food, and then I think at 7 I'm gonna come back because I don't have the time to be ready for 6. So at 7 we're gonna start the second part of the stream, which is gonna be New Vegas. We won't raid anybody at this point. I will just like close the stream down. Let me just wrap up for you all. See, yeah, you'll see me very soon. Surprisingly, it'll almost feel like it's only been like an hour or so. Crazy. Wild. Yeah, thank you for stopping by. Always a lot of fun going off on these random Yu-Gi-Oh! Related tangents. Thanks for sticking through while we do this, and I will see you all in the next one. If you're sticking by for the next stream, I'll see you in like an hour. Otherwise, take care, stay safe, have fun, and remember to boil your Pepsi.